Hey, we're using Pro Mix this year. Not my first choice. I like the stuff I had last year that came from Cube Pack greenhouses, but they're not selling it this year. So I have to spend $50 a bale on Pro Mix. Okay, these trays and inserts are from Greenhouse Megastore. The trays do not have holes in them, and I buy them that way on purpose. I will put holes in them once everything sprouts. I like to put about a half inch of water in the bottom so that they actually work as a wick, so that I don't have to water them every few hours. This is a kind of a tedious process, so I sped it up here. It's nice that it's not so cold. Usually I'm out here and I'm freezing and the hose is frozen and I can't water, but today I figure I'd do it a day or two early because I wanted to be able to use the hose, and it's getting cold this weekend. You need to thoroughly soak these down. And like I said, there's no holes in the trays, so by the time I'm done, there'll be the half inch of water that I need in the bottom of them. Now I'm going to take a sifter and I'm going to actually sift this stuff so that what's on the top is very fine, because I'm going to be starting some very small seeds. Here we go. There's the first four of the five. I'm going to work in my nice warm basement now because I'm frozen. These are pelleted seeds. They're very small seeds, but they're pelleted. So these aren't so bad. I try to get two per cell. I use the razor knife because it's got a very sharp point and I could really separate the seeds easily. One wrong move and then you have 100 seeds in one cell. So I got to take my time here. If you're interested in gardening, please subscribe. I like when people watch me work, but without subscribers, it's hard to share my knowledge. All plants grown here are used in my backyard. I grow 25 to 30 hanging baskets, about 100 potted plants, and over 500 square feet of regular garden space. Starting another 5 plats in mid-March, and I'll be moving everything into my greenhouse for the month of April. Okay, here's onion. I like candy onions. These are treated seeds, so if you wonder why they're green. And alyssum, a favorite flower of mine, little tiny flowers. I like to make hanging baskets with these, and they look like snowballs. Now these are very small seeds, but not the smallest of today. There's probably 500 seeds on that piece of paper right now. But if I take my time, I could separate them out. All you have to do is sneeze and they're all gone. Okay, Petunia Easy Wave, yellow. These are pelleted and they're large, so I'm just going to thump them in my hand and put them down. Um, I like to count them out too because they're about 50 cents a seed. Easy Wave Blue. Same deal. After I got done planning, the video is going to go into like my propagation bench, which I hope you'll find interesting. I use hot water to heat the soil. Okay, Silver Falls, these are nice for hanging baskets. They hang down. These seeds are pelleted as well, and they're very large. These are, let me see, they're regulars. They're small, but they're pelleted, so they're not that small. Very doable. As I was saying, I use hot water instead of a heat mat. And I could get all these things to sprout within 3 or 4 days because I can control the heat a lot better than a heat mat. Heat mat, once it hits temperature and cools down, it takes another 20 minutes to heat back up. Blue Horizon. I love these things. They grow about 30 inches tall and they bloom all summer long. These are probably the smallest seeds of the day. I use the same method. I've been doing it this way for 30 years. And what do we got here? It's more the same thing, just a different. These are a smaller version of what I just had. Same little blue flower, but they only grow about 10 inches, I believe, where the other ones grow up to 30 inches. Now I let all the seeds just sit on the top because they need light to germinate. So I don't cover anything up, even the onions, I just let it sit on top. When you try to cover seeds up, that's when you start running into problems. In nature, they just lay on the top of the ground. And as long as you keep that soil moist, and because I have that water in the bottom and it's wicking it up, there's never a problem. I get almost 100% germination. Okay, this is Jericho romaine lettuce. These seeds are from last year, but they'll grow. Lettuce usually stays good for a few years, whereas onions only last 1 year. My hot water heated grow bench. I'm in my basement, and how this works is hot water circulates through these tubes and warms the soil up of the plant. I'm not really concerned much of the indoor temperature here, which is, it's like 55, 60 degrees in the wintertime, but the soil temperature. And the soil temperature maintains around 70 degrees, and the ambient temperature around the plant from the heat rising up is enough to make the plant thrive. We have 3 fluorescent lights here, and there are 6 multi-spectrum lights, or I should say full spectrum lights. And I rotate my plants from this side of the bench to this side of the bench every couple days. Let's get into how this works. We have, around the end here, we have the hot water heater, circulator pump. The Snapple bottle is the overflow tank. Inkbird thermometer controls the circulator pump, and a Christmas light timer that we use to control the lights. The model of the hot water heater is the UT10. It's 2.5 gallons, I believe. It has a thermostat on it, and you can see I have 2 notches on there, one for 100 degrees and one for 120. Depending on what I'm doing and what the temperature is in the basement, we move back and forth between those two. circulator pump, it has 3 speeds. I usually vary the speeds, depends on what the temperature is and how many plants I have in there. It's a lot of variables there that make me decide what I use at the time. Okay, the Snapple bottle, like I said, is sort of like an overflow tank on a car next to your radiator where you put your antifreeze in and you have a hot line and a cold line, and depending whether it's on or off, that water level is going to go up or down depending on the temperature, and that keeps the pump from running dry. Inkbird thermometer, that's the actual temperature it is. That's what it's set at. You can see that it's on the heating mode because it's below 70. The cooling side we use for a fan later on in the season. The probe, which actually is what takes the temperature, I stick right into the soil of the plants, and I try to get it about halfway down, get an accurate reading. And here we go with the probe right into the goods. Got some flats in the oven here. So let's see what happens. And here we go. 3 days later. 3.5 days later. We're 71 degrees. Almost everything is popping through. You look real close, you could see some tiny plants there. These are the smallest seeds. Everything is emerging except for the Easy Wave, the blue ones. I can't find any of those up yet. And here we are with the petunias. You can see the blue ones are on the edge. I can't find any of them. 50 cents a seed and they probably won't grow. And I can see there's a tiny one. These are the yellow petunias right there. One day that's going to be a big, beautiful hanging basket. Still early. Like I said, it's about 3.5 days since I planted these. Okay, the onions, you can see they're all starting to sprout. Now that they have germinated, I'll probably take that flat out and plant them a little deeper one by one this weekend. Very cold here in the Northeast, so give me something to do. So I'm certainly not going outside. Okay, on the other side, this is the alyssum. Good germination there. And some more of the onions in. That's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. More to come.